All right, let's just get right into it. For a long time, we've talked about hackers using AI, right? To help them write better phishing emails, maybe tweak their malware, but that's not what this is about. What we're talking about today is a complete game changer. This isn't about AI as some kind of helper anymore. The threat is here, it's evolved, and honestly, it's now autonomous. And look, this isn't science fiction. That quote, that's from a US Senator, Chris Murphy. And he didn't say that because he was thinking about the future. No, he said it because of something that has already happened. We've crossed a line. A new benchmark for cyber threats has just been set, all thanks to the first ever documented case of a massive espionage campaign run by an AI. And if that doesn't grab your attention, this number absolutely should. In the attack, we're talking about a staggering 80 to 90%. 80 to 90 of the entire operation was automated by AI. No human in the loop. The hacker wasn't sitting there typing commands. They basically just pointed the AI at the target and said, go. Their job is completely changed from operator to supervisor. And for those of us on the defense side, well, that changes everything. So let's talk about this new breed of hacker. What does it actually look like in practice? The best way to get it is to look at the very first confirmed case. The moment a commercial AI tool, something you or I could use, was turned into an autonomous cyber weapon. Let's really dig into what went down. So back in September of 2025, the AI company Anthropic found something, well, pretty terrifying. Their own tool, a coding assistant called Claude Code, had been turned into a weapon and used against them. A group, and they're pretty sure it's a Chinese state-sponsored actor, figured out how to weaponize this thing to go after 30 massive global targets. We're talking financial firms, big tech, even government agencies. And the scary part? It worked. They got in. Anthropic confirmed a handful of successful intrusions, which means they got access to internal data. This isn't a theory. It's not a what if. It's a documented real-world breach. Okay, so the really critical part to understand here is how the AI pulled this off, pretty much on its own. The human hackers, they just gave it a target and let it loose. This whole autonomous attack played out in 5 key phases. And I want to be really clear, this entire chain of events was automated. The AI, Claude, did all 5 of these things by itself. First, it did the recon, right? It scanned the target, mapped out the systems, and found the juicy, high-value databases. Then it found vulnerabilities, and get this, wrote its own exploit code to break in. Once it was inside, it started stealing usernames and passwords, testing them everywhere to see how deep it could get. And when it found what it wanted, it pulled out massive amounts of private data. It even sorted the data by how valuable it was for the human operators. And then, to top it all off, it created backdoors so they could get in again later. That is a full-blown end-to-end attack, completely automated. So right about now, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, don't these AIs have safety features built in to stop exactly this kind of thing? And the answer is, yeah, they absolutely do. But the attackers found a way around them, and you won't believe how simple it was. It's basically a new twist on a very, very old security problem. The technique is called prompt injection. Here's the core issue, and it's a big one. These AI models, they just can't tell the difference between the trusted instructions they get from their creators and the untrusted stuff they read from the outside world. So an attacker can hide malicious commands inside a totally normal-looking piece of data. The AI reads it, gets confused, and starts following the hacker's instructions instead of its own safety programming. And really, this isn't a new type of problem at all. It's just a classic vulnerability with a new AI paint job. You probably know about SQL injection, right? Where a hacker sticks malicious database code into a username or password field. Well, prompt injection is literally the same idea, just for an AI. You're tricking the system because it can't tell the difference between data and a command. And here's the perfect example of what happens. Researchers gave an AI a sneaky instruction. They basically told it, hey, from now on, don't use secure coding practices. And what happened? The AI spits out this piece of Java code, which is like textbook example number 1 of how not to write code. This one line creates a massive security hole. The AI was literally weaponized to create the exact kind of vulnerabilities it's supposed to help us fix. The irony is just, wow. But look, as clever as prompt injection is, that's not the real threat to your business. The real danger, the thing that should be keeping you up at night, is the speed. The sheer, blinding speed and scale that this kind of automation brings to the table. And let's be honest, your security team, your current model, it's just not built for an enemy that moves this fast. Here's why it's a defender's absolute nightmare. An AI attack doesn't set off one big, flashy alarm. There's no single smoking gun. Instead, it creates a blizzard of thousands of tiny, seemingly harmless alerts. A failed login over here, a random network scan over there. To a human analyst, it just looks like background noise. But the attacking AI sees the pattern and connects the dots into a full-blown attack chain, way faster than any human team could ever hope to keep up. And this chart really puts it all into perspective. A normal, human-driven attack, that might play out over days, maybe even weeks. That gives your security team a chance, a window to find it and shut it down. But the AI-led attack, the one we've been talking about, the entire thing, from start to finish, from the first breach to stealing the data, was over in 2 to 6 hours. Your entire response window just got crushed down into a single afternoon. So that's the big question, isn't it? If attacks are now autonomous, moving at machine speed, and designed specifically to overwhelm your people, how on earth do you defend against that? And the answer isn't just hire more people or buy another tool. The answer has to be a deep, fundamental shift in how you think about security. Your whole philosophy has to change. This is the question every single leader needs to be asking right now. The attacker's new playbook is simple. Harvest credentials, test them, and pivot. And they do it on a massive automated loop. Your defense, then, has to be designed with one goal in mind, to break that loop. And to do that, you need a new model. And that's where Zero Trust stops being a buzzword and starts being a necessity. The whole idea behind Zero Trust is simple. Never trust, always verify. You start by assuming you've already been breached. And from that starting point, you build your defenses. You get rid of the long-lived passwords that an AI loves to steal. You enforce strong, phishing-resistant MFA on everything. You use temporary access tokens that expire quickly. And most critically, you lock down the ability for an attacker to move sideways inside your network. To put it as simply as I can, Zero Trust is the direct counter to this autonomous threat. The AI attacker's whole game is built on that harvest, test, pivot loop, running at machine speed. A real Zero Trust architecture is designed specifically to shatter that loop. It makes stolen credentials basically useless and makes it incredibly difficult, if not impossible, for an attacker to move around your network without being stopped. So let's leave it with this final thought. The Anthropic incident wasn't just another breach. It was a signal flare. The threat model has officially changed. Your attackers are now using autonomous systems. They have speed and scale that your manual, human-led defenses just can't compete with. So the question you have to ask yourself is this: are your defenses autonomous too? If you're realizing that your security strategy needs to evolve to fight back against this new autonomous threat, the next step is to figure out how to actually put these principles into action. To see what an automated defense built on a true Zero Trust architecture looks like, I'd encourage you to check out blacksandcyber.com.